Hi there. Welcome back for part 2 of our top 20 series. Of course,
Which
in
is
the last
part 3.
Technically. Yeah. So if you saw the honorable mentions, we'll say that's part 1. Why not? It's part 3 on this many fingers. I never learned to count. It's probably why I have trouble keeping track of where we are in the list. So anyway, if you're joining us from the 20 to 16, welcome. We are going to keep going. If you would like to start us off again, joining me is Danny. I, of course, am Trevor. We are the resident game gurus at Zia Comics. So, coming in at number 15.
Number 15, my number 15 favorite game of all time, Machi Koro.
Nice.
It's rated as 6.7, 2 to 4 players, about 60 minutes. It can stretch longer than that by IDW.
Yeah.
This game caught me off guard when I found it for sale at Walmart when I lived away from here for a while.
Yeah.
And I was I've never heard of it before. I was like, well, it's at Walmart. It's got to be good, right?
Yeah. And it's weird because it's one of those designer board games that was in the hobby market and has like expanded into more of the mass market stores.
Right, and didn't have an IP.
Yeah.
It didn't have like Firefly or Star Trek to go off of. It was just, oh, what's Machi Koro? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
But the idea of the game is real simple. Yeah, you start off with 2 buildings, a number of landmarks you got to construct. First player to construct their landmarks win. And the only currency is money. That's the only resource. But it is a resource management because you're buying buildings that give you money.
It's also a bit of a deck building game. Because essentially you've got all of these different improvements, these different structures that you buy into your city and then use those improvements to get you more money to buy more stuff. Yeah. So it's working off of the very simple deck building mechanic of I'm increasing my starter deck to do more stuff, stuff to win.
And you're building up, you have cards that affect only you, cards that affect you on every turn, cards that affect other players on their turn, cards that
only work on other players' turns.
During your turn, the landmarks. Yeah. And it's very simple to pick up, but every turn somebody rolls some dice, a bunch of cards activate, and that's one of those things where sometimes people will be really happy on one person's turn because you can still get money.
Also, one of the few games that got better with an expansion. Usually an expansion is just kind of one of those like, here, if you want more replayability, here's this, and it doesn't necessarily make it better.
It's required.
It makes it different. With the Harbor expansion, it actually made Machi Koro better.
Yeah, because it randomized it. Yeah. The original base game only had 15 cards that you would choose from at a time.
You could buy from any stack.
And that's it.
Yeah.
It would never change. Kind of mundane. The Harbor expansion added another, 15 cards or something, and then but you recycle and you randomize
way
it.
To play.
Yeah, and then they did it so much that it improved the game so much that in the deluxe version of the base game, they now include the instructions to do that.
Yeah.
And I think even in the regular base game, I think they say that as well now. So that's actually a big change in the rules.
Where the expansion changed the base game.
Yes.
It's weird.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Talking of games with expansions, my number 15 pick is Dead of Winter by Plaid Hat Games. 2 to 5 player game, takes about hour or two to get through. It is a cooperative game with a defector, potentially.
Potentially, yeah.
It's rated, actually, I think it's actually the top rated game on my list at an 8.4.
Oh, wow, it's that high.
Yeah. Dead of Winter is really good.
It is good.
So a lot of people have called it The Walking Dead, the board game. You, even though Walking Dead has had some board games, they're not great. Who knows? As far as we know, the ones that have come out, not the best.
Yeah.
Dead of Winter takes this kind of Walking Dead theme of survivors working together to make it through the winter, and then throws that traitor aspect in there, where, especially with recent effects on the show with characters in The Walking Dead, feels even more thematic like the series. So you're generally trying to make sure everyone's fed, find new equipment cards to help you survive and things like that, all the while trying to complete one overall objective and survive the winter, while each individual player, whether traitor or loyal, also has their own hidden objective that they need to complete too. So there's a lot of things that you got to juggle in the game.
Yeah, I know. Mine is, it's not on this list, obviously, because I didn't know that. But I think the reason being, even though I own it and I really enjoy it, it's it's really difficult for a new person to join in on that game.
Yeah.
So it hits the table less because I host more recent gamers, and that was daunting when I first learned it. I remember they're like, oh, so this phase you have these 15 steps, and then this phase you have these 17 options. And then this phase, a lot of stuff might happen. It's like,
it's definitely a game you don't want to have first timers play. It's not a good infectionary game. It is a great game, but it's not like, I've never played a board game before. You should do Dead of Winter, because they will take a good 6 months off their life and probably never want to play again by the time it's done.
Yeah, and it's not exactly an uplifting
great game
either. Yeah, no, it's brilliant.
So, coming in at number 14.
Yeah, so number 14 for me is another really complex game. It takes about 90 minutes. It's Time's Up. That's a lie. That's actually just a party game. It's really simple. I'm not a big fan of like charades or password or like all the standard fare. But what this does is this basically takes the best parts of all of them, combines it together, and makes it in a way where it's just absolutely hilarious. It goes over 3 rounds. Each round changes how you play. You have 40 cards that are just titles of movies, books, whatever.
Yeah. Generally pop culture items.
Yeah, and you can buy expansions that just add more cards, and it's real simple. The box comes with so many cards. The very first round, you're just trying to get your partner to say whatever the title is without saying it. So you can tell them whatever clues you want. Second round, you have to say one-word clues, but you're using the same 40 cards. Yeah. So it works. You already remember half of them. And then the last one, you have to mime it, which I don't like acting or charades, but because you've been through these cards twice, there was one point where I was playing this just the other night, and I grabbed onto one of my friends, and I went, hold on, and I ran to my kitchen and grabbed a loaf of bread. It was Catcher in the Rye. And they figured it out, but it wasn't my partner who figured it out. And so they got to wait until they got to do the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah,
and it worked. But
it runs into those fairly frequently.
I've never played this game and not had like grown adults just giggling and crying because they're laughing so hard. It's brilliant. Time's Up. 4 to 18 players, by the way.
Yeah, high player count. I think the only thing that comes close to that is Werewolf.
Something like that, yeah. It's up there.
So my number 14 is Steve Jackson Games' Shea Geek. Of course, if you've ever been through college, this is College the card game. You all have dead-end jobs. You are trying to slack off, get various adult beverages and illegal substances, and generally have good times with people of opposite genders. The game does not take itself seriously at all, in the slightest. Really, really fun game.
It rewards you for sleeping.
Yeah, it's the only game in which you get better by sleeping. Yeah. So it is a 2 to 5 player game. Takes about 45 minutes to an hour, generally. Currently at a 5.7 on Board Game Geek's average rating, which is the lowest rated game on my list. So I think it's a really, really good game, and if that is the lowest one, there's got to be some good stuff.
Well, let's hope. My number 13.
Let's hope.
Let's hope. I haven't seen this list. I can only assume. But
oh yeah. So point of order for those watching at home, we haven't told each other what our lists are, so they are absolutely as much of a surprise to us.
Exactly. Unless he keeps looking over. My number 13 is Stone Age. Brilliant game. I love that you're gathering resources, like in a lot of games like Settlers of Catan, or you're trying to do it to build buildings and get points. But what's cool about it is that you send a number of your workers to each of the fields, and that's also how many dice you roll, and you have to divide it by a number depending on how rare the item is. So gold, you have to divide it by 6, where wood, it's divided by 3. Yeah. So it's a lot easier to get wood than gold.
It's definitely a really good worker placement game.
Yeah, it's brilliant how it works. And it mitigates the random, because you can add bonuses.
It's the only game in which you can get more workers by sending 2 workers into a shack to make babies.
And then you get a new one the next game. Yeah. Speaking of Shea Geek, not taking itself seriously. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so cool.
Also includes methods of coital behavior.
Yeah. And although in this game, one of my character meeples was missing its head. Like it was missing, and it was still painted. So I have like a half-headed character, and he's my last of the, because he doesn't get goods that often.
Yeah.
You know, he's.
He
I don't send him. I don't trust the dice rolls that I have to do with that.
It's the headless horseman.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my number 13, Stone Age, 7.5, 60 to 90 minutes, made by Z-Man right now.
Nice.
Cool. 13?
My number 13 is going to be The Resistance. Of course, we talked about it a little bit during our honorable mentions.
I knew this was The Resistance because I am a spy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So specifically, though, my version is the Avalon one, which is the King Arthur themed. Added some more character powers and special abilities, adding in Merlin and the I can't remember his name now, Mordred, Oberon, other characters from the King Arthur mythos, and giving you more special abilities. Whereas the Resistance, you could get the Merlin promo expansion for the original one.
And that's just odd.
Yeah, it was codename Merlin. And it's a great expansion and one that you kind of really should play with. But at the same time, it originated in this one. And I'm always tend to be more of a fan of fantasy theme versus future theme. Yeah. So, again, indie boards and cards, 5 to 10 players. We've already gone over it. Currently at a 7.7 on its average. So.
Oh, that's really good. No, that's a really good pick.
Yeah.
I played.
Really
I played it to the point of where I didn't want to play it for about a year straight. So that's why. Otherwise, I probably would have been
played to it nauseum.
Yeah, we've done that, and it's just it got to the point where I was so frustrated. Danny's a spy. It's like we're playing Candyland. What are you talking about?
My advice to you is to stop being the spy then.
Well, it happened twice. That was it. Like every other time, I haven't been the spy. It was so ridiculous. But my number 12. This game is rated as 7.6, 3 to 7 players, 42 minutes on the box, Asmodee.
Yep.
This game took a game that was already decent, took Dixit, and gave it a point. It's called Mysterium. It is Dixit, where you're giving these surreal art, beautiful artwork, from the ghosts to the players who are trying to investigate who done it, where, and with what. Sounds familiar. Yeah. But this makes it entirely cooperative. I feel it's a little strange that it's exactly 42 minutes on the box.
Yeah,
that's fun.
That's how I knew exactly what it was going to be when you said 42 minutes. It was like
42 minutes.
Yeah,
that's how long. If you take a minute more, you're wrong. You're playing it wrong.
Yeah.
No, it's a brilliant game.
I think it's because it plays over 7 rounds, and they took an average of the amount of time per round.
Yes.
And essentially went like, yep, that's how long the game is.
Sure.
So
that's what we'll say.
It's weird that it's that specific, but yeah.
But it's about right. No, I think they hit it out of the park with this. They hold at conventions. They'll do full seance rooms where they're playing this game. No, it's so cool.
We've done tournaments for the game too. Yeah. One of the really interesting things about it is that the ghost player can't speak. It's one of the only games in
asymmetric cooperative.
Yeah,
which is bizarre.
Yeah, you have to work together, but one of the players can't tell you the information that they need you to know. So, really cool.
Yeah, I love that one. So, number 12?
Mysterium. Samurai Spirit by Funforge. This is the great Antoine Bauza game. Based off of Akira Kurosawa's The Seven Samurai, if you're familiar with the movie, or Magnificent Seven, which just came out. A remake came out this year. It is a 1 to 7 player game. Takes about 30 to 45 minutes. Its average rating is currently at a 6.8. What I like about the game is that each of you takes on one of the roles of the Seven Samurai, and you are trying to defend this village from incoming raiders. When you get enough wounds or meet certain criteria, you can transform into your animal side, making you more powerful, giving you more special abilities, things like that. What I love about the game is that it is one of the most travel-friendly, full board games that I've ever seen. The board itself is about that big.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 9-inch square.
Yeah.
And that is the board. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then each player will have their own boards, plus it comes with samurai meeples.
I mean, you can fit that in your pocket if you're wearing Jinko jeans or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
As I do. They can't tell at home.
Yeah. Oh, you're wearing pants?
Oh, yeah. Got the hammer loop and everything on them. My Jinko jeans. Yeah.
Sorry to derail you.
Weird 1999 reference.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 11.
Number 11. This game it's rated a 6.2, 30 minutes by Tasty Minstrel Games. Technically a 1+ player game. You could have, in theory, an unlimited amount of players. I stick to about 4 or 5, but it's a dungeon roll.
Yep.
And this is one of those dungeon crawl games where the theme is you're pushing luck. You're pushing your luck. You set your heroes aside, which is a certain number of dice, and every round you go in, every level you roll more and more and more and more dice, and you're trying to get as far as you can, getting experience without dying. It's a brilliant game. There's not much to say about it. It's incredibly simple. It's easy to pick up, and people just have a blast.
Again, I think it's one of those games that's quickly becoming a staple in most board gamers' collection. Plus, the game itself comes in a little chest, and whenever you get treasure, you actually reach into a treasure chest and pull it out. And it is one of the most fun games to when you get to have treasure go da 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 da, because everyone needs to do that.
And you take out just this tiny little token that's smaller than a dime, and you're like, well, that was worth it, and you feel genuinely satisfied, even though it's like, this is just a disc of cardboard. It's probably not worth anything, but So that's my number 11.
Nice. My number 11 is Betrayal at the House on the Hill. It's Avalon Hill / Wizards of the Coast, because they're technically kind of one company.
Yeah, it's under Avalon Hill right now.
3 to 6 player game, takes about hour and a half. Is currently at a 7.1. It is one of the coolest modular board / competitive cooperative games where everyone's working together to build out these the floor of this haunted house through tiles, and then at a certain point the haunt happens, one of the players becomes a traitor, and now it's everybody against that guy, and they're trying to generally find some new and interesting way to kill you. It has over 50 scenarios in the base game book, which is ridiculous. Yeah. And then they just released their Widow's Walk expansion, which
10
I think
years
adds
later,
another. I think it's another 50 scenarios.
Yes.
So all in total, 100 different playthroughs of this game is phenomenal. The only reason why it didn't break my top 10 was just because it's a 3-player requirement.
Yeah. And you normally do 2-player. Yeah.
Generally, there needs to be some way to get at least 2 players.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that I own the Widow Walk expansion. I think once I play it a few more times, I think it'll jump up on my list. But it's not. It never broke my list, unfortunately, because I do enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
But it's weird to get to the table because sometimes people just aren't in the mood, and it's odd to explain.
What's interesting to me about it is that the game plays exactly the same for the first half every time. It's always just going around and you're exploring this house. And then the last half is completely different every single time you play. Yeah. So the game never finishes the same way twice. So But there you have it. That was our top 15 to 11.
Yep.
I'm getting better at counting. I'm telling you, one of these days I'm going to figure out how math works. So thank you very much for watching. We will see you in the next part for our top 10 to 6.
Video number.